I'll do is get this bit on. I'm going to let it tack up for a bit so it starts going off, and then hopefully if it does that enough in time, I'm going to slap a little bit of gel coat over it, so when I come to sand it off next time, I'm sanding it smooth using the gel coat almost like a filler rather than sanding the fiberglass away that I've just put on. Make sure you're mixing, scrape all around the sides, give it a good thorough mix. You don't want it not mixed up properly. Right, next layer one will overlap that last one. By, what's that, a couple of inches I've done that. That looks good. I've got quite a hard edge here, I could have torn that, but I've still got to sand this bit and blend it in anyway, so I'll be able to taper that down and blend it all in. That just literally covers what I put on there before. Right, now we've got to work this in. I'll flip this resin out just to get it out this tub. A little bit left in there. I could have just rolled that first layer a bit better with this layer on, but what I didn't want it to do is if it goes off, starts tacking up, before I get this layer on, then it's too late. Now I've put another layer over the top of a layer that's already going off and it's not been rolled out, not got the air out of it. That air's never coming out. So I prefer to just get that first one on and rolled out, then I can get my next layer on and roll it again. You can, if you're quick enough, or using laminating resin, you could roll it all out together. But obviously, the more layers you've got, the more chance you have got of, in my opinion, trapping air between them. You should be able to get it out, but it can be tricky sometimes, Some of us, we're just watching YouTube, we're learning, we're doing stuff. We ain't boat builders, we ain't professional fiberglassers. It's not what we do for a living, It might be alright for the professionals, that they can do that. They can whack on multi-layers, they know what they can get away with. They've been doing it for years usually. They know what they can do with it. They know that if they do that, that will cause them problems. When you're sort of a bit self-taught and learning from what you can watch, you don't know. You only know what you know, and that's fine. But you ain't gonna know everything, and you will get it wrong occasionally. So there we go. So we've got that top bits on. That's got enough resin in there. I'm happy with that. We have run out of resin on this bottom half, so I need to get that taken care of. Need to knock up some more. Just gonna roll this top bit in where it overlaps. Do two things. I can get rid of the excess resin off of there. Pull that down. I'll get the air out before it gets trapped in there. This is where the two layers are overlapping, so just drawing the air out of between the second and the first layers. and taking off that excess resin. When that resin's too thick as well, that will give you excess heat as well, so that area will start setting up fast. Oh, this mask's working better than I thought it would, but there's definitely a slight odour. Roll that excess resin there. It gels, but what that does is that starts pulling the glass shards out of that corner. So I'm going to take care of that before I just work the rest of that cloth and make sure it's flat back. Keep an eye on it whilst I'm going with the rest of it. Now, there we go. Right. And I need to hurry up and crack on before that starts setting up at all on this bottom bit. So, looks like another trip to the old fiberglass shop before I come down next time. More cosmetic, just to get rid of the voids that I was looking at before. Wring it out. This stuff takes a lot of resin. This is heavy gauge glass. It's 600 GSM, I think they call it, as opposed to like a 300 weight. Or the glass shop basically said, you know, you can put one layer of this down instead of 2 layers normally that you'd do. So, right, a little bit more. I want to try and just put a little bit more around this top. So that's what happens when you start trying to rush. Hurry up. Right. So now we've got enough resin into that. We can roll it out. A little bit left if it's not gone to gel in a minute. I don't want to stick it on just now in case it does start going off. So that's rolling out, but it's not touching that bit in the middle. That's what I'm just going to go over it quickly with this one, and I'll get the smaller roller out. Excess coming out there. That top, I can see, is already pretty much starting to set. Well, I'll work that into that top corner up there. You can see the colour of it, the appearance, you know. You can see it's starting to set up. Which should mean as I roll this out, it shouldn't keep pulling it. this. I'm going to use the smaller one, just like I say, because this one's sort of riding on the crests a little bit, on the peaks. I want to make sure I've just got it all. I can sort of see where the roller's been, where it's going, by the resin as it's coming over the top of the glass. And this excess resin I can just let run down the bottom, like so. It's all got to be sanded still. If you don't want excess resin, you know, you're doing something where you don't want that, then you put a bit of masking tape there and a sheet of plastic over there and let it run down onto the plastic. Looks pretty darn good to me. Done with this one, I'll just leave it standing in the acetone for now. I'll clean that up in a minute. Get a gel coat. Just taking off a couple of little runs here. I'm just repeating what I've just done with the larger roller, but basically just with the smaller one, so that it gets into any little troughs that we might have missed, taking out any last bits of air and excess resin. I'm not pushing on this at all, I'm literally just rolling that down, pretty much the weight of the roller. A very gentle pressure on there. I'm not forcing it at all. At this stage it's looking pretty good, like I think I've done alright with a bigger roller. I'm just checking it really, just double checking my work before it goes off with a small one. There is a little excess resin there, see, I don't know if you can see that, and that's where that larger roller is sitting on a couple of peaks and the trough in the middle gets left behind. That's the edge of the old glass to the new glass there. So, as I said, I didn't want to go right up to there because I've had already fillered and finished that front bulkhead. So this isn't needing to tab into there, it's not structural, this is purely to hide all those unsightly holes and things that were in that glass here, and these voids either side of these wooden strips that Shetland put in. All he's done is cleaned all that out, removed the voids, fillered it all, shaped up a couple of bits, like this section here where I'm doing, looks nasty. So I reshaped that with some filler, fairing compound, whatever you want to call it. It was actually a bonding paste. It's a type of resin filler. And we've put a layer of CSM over that. So it's a one layer of CSM chopped strand matting. It's a 600 weight, so it's a very heavy layer. It's equivalent to obviously laying two 300 weight layers, you know, so instead of doing it in two, I've done it in one heavier layer rather than two thinner layers. There we go. Right, that is done. That excess resin right at the bottom there. This also sort of just helps taper out that bottom edge of the glass. So I've still got to do all this bottom here. It's all got to be flatted. All these flattening down, sanding off, filling, painting or gel coating. Right, that is done. Right, now, left over a bit there. It's a lot easier to lay smaller bits anyway. If you are laying multiple layers like upside down bits and stuff like that anyway, it's sometimes easier to just let that first layer set up a bit first. You don't want it fully dried, or you've got to sand it off, but let it tack up so that it's not moving, it's not going anywhere. Then you can get your next layer on. If you're doing loads of layers, you might need to let it set midway so that it don't all fall off. For what I'm doing, that's fine, I don't need to do that. There we go. So this has all been glassed and filled and everything else. And it's just literally this edge bit here. I cut that glass to fit it in there, basically get it in quickly. And that bit there basically hasn't got any glass on it. So I just literally filled that bit in. Really hard to see what you've done there. Nice little check over. Once this is set, that's it. Any mistakes means grinding it out and starting again. I'm about to get some air bubbles in this, you know. It's very uneven surface. I just want to remove as much as I can. Like that. That's huge. Well, if there are any air bubbles in this, it's going to be a darn sight better than what was there, that's for sure. Pretty darn good. I'm happy. I'm just checking it over really gently before I walk away. Just make sure nothing's moved when you're running the cloth down the next bit. And you're pulling it down, it's actually, as you're moving it downwards this way, you start dragging it out of a corner. Start moving the cloth little areas. I'm just checking that I've not introduced any air. Before this lot goes off, because I ain't got long now. I'll start cooking. I guess it's probably taken me about an hour to do this. Plus the mucking about. That's good. Right, I think I'm done. I should really just leave this alone. Just checking for any excess drips if I've just dropped anything off where I've done that top bit there. I'm literally no pressure at all now, I'm just running that over lightly. I've got time, if this goes off enough, I'll slap some gel coat over it before I go, because otherwise next time I come down I'll have to sand all this before I can gel coat it. So sand it again, which is really annoying. Alright, that's me done. All I'll do is get that resin out as much as I can. I'll let this set up in the pot, but I won't leave the pot in the boat. I'll stick it outside. That can go off out there. Right. Roller's clean. Now this brush I could use for doing my gel coating in a moat. I'll just get off the worst of the resin in the acetone now. Hang around for a bit. If that goes off, I'll gel coat. If not, brushing the gel coat on it, it moves the glass, and that will mess up my work. So I'll have to leave that for a moat and see what happens. Right, that's me done for that now. I'll do that in two. Yeah, so that's about an hour's work there. Right, so I don't think this is going to set up enough for me to brush on any gel coat today. So I've just rinsed out my brush, that's all clean, ready for next time. Like I say, that'll dry a bit crusty. You just wash it out in some acetone, it reactivates it and it's all fine and dandy for next time. And that'll be fine for brushing on a bit of gel coat. But unfortunately what that's going to mean is I'm going to have to sand all that lot again. That's about another hour or so sanding before I can then clean it all up, acetone it and then gel coat it. A real pain in the butt. I was hoping that would go off and I could just brush on some stuff. I might hang around for a little while and see if I can do that before I really would like to get some gel coat on there before I leave. That way it'll be like this. And then when I come back and I've got to sand it before I can put my lockers in, not only will that all be painted, but I can sand it, and I'm sanding this smooth. It'll give me a nice smooth finish rather than sanding the glass away that I've just put on there, making that thinner. You know, you're taking strength out. You know, once I gel coat over it, that acts like a filler in the glass, and I can smooth that. It will come up a lot smoother than sanding the glass and then gel coating it again. It will give me a much better finish, and it'll all cure as one. You know, rather than sort of different layers being put on at different application times. It will be a lot better if it was all done in one. But there you go. It is what it is. I'll have to hang around and see if that will go off. It's starting to go, but it's just not quite there yet. So I'll need to hang around a little bit longer. So I'll just get that finished. But we're getting there. What I don't want to do is start brushing it on and it starts moving the glass. So that's what I've got to be careful of. It needs to be set enough that I can brush on my gel coat without moving it. It's not quite there yet. It's still a bit wet. So we'll see.